And welcome to part 4. The case was eventually painted. I finished it off on my balcony. At this point, there's about 3.5 hours into the project with no actual computer work being done, so let's start doing that now. So, I was able to install, rather crudely, the battery to the RTC. So I did this over lunch. It took exactly 45 minutes to do. Sorry, 55 minutes, so we'll just round it up to an hour. These all had to come out, all of that. Then we had to pop that out and cut the RTC itself. You can't really see it in there, it's hiding behind the keyboard BIOS, but cut the legs off. Not the legs that connect the internal battery, well, to the board. Cut those and solder these wires in place. There's positive and a negative. And a brand new Maxell battery has been fitted. So now I'm super anxious to see if this works in here. I might want to plug this in. Alright, some activity is happening. Alright, so now I'm basically going to set the date and turn it off for half an hour, turn it back on to see what happens, see if these memories, if the memory is stored in the device. Alright, so it held the time and the configuration just fine. The B floppy was making, the 5¼ inch floppy was making some terrible sounds. So it also doesn't read it because I/O error. In any case, it will have to be taken apart and reconditioned, much like most of this build. After tinkering with it a little bit more, I took this plate off and took some alcohol, Q-tips to the heads, and some silicone grease to one of these. I was able to get it to read, so let's actually show that in action. And it is a high density drive, so that's good. Moving around over there. It might take a couple seconds to. Yeah, after I took the Q-tip to the rail, there was a lot of garbage in there. I mean, check this out. This is all just rail crap, and it looks like it does work now. So I go to B. You can see it doing stuff. Get a directory listing there. This is a high density diskette. Actually, I'm going to shift over to the screen and zoom in. And you can see. Check disk this. And there it is. So actually a pretty awesome thing is going to be happening to that computer over there. I found a 1540 Rev B SCSI controller and 250 meg hard drive, which has no bad sectors on it, and this working Sony CDU55S. No idea what speed it is. I'll find that information out and caption it here. I'm testing this in my DLC computer, and everything does check out. So this is gonna become a SCSI system suddenly. So the reason that I'm putting CD-ROM in this computer is, as you can see, that 5¼ inch bay cover below the 5¼ inch floppy is a bit, well, not straight. I broke it and I taped it into place, and I'm like, that's no good. What can I do about that? And I looked around through my parts drawer. I have several IDE CD-ROMs, but there are two problems with that. First, the drive that was going to be using was this 250 meg. This is kind of like a not compact flash. This is a solid state drive. I've opened one up. There's just a bunch of chips in there. This does translate. It has CHS parameters. It's really quick. It's a bit too quick for this computer. And the worst part is it doesn't make any drive noises. The computer's eerily quiet. So I wanted a mechanical drive in there, but I mean, that's the only thing I had. But then I can't put a CD-ROM in there because this thing just hogs up the whole channel. Like, there's no way to slave that. You can master slave this particular drive. I don't know what the point of that switch is because you can't daisy chain anything else off of it. The sound card has no header. So I dug through my pile of stuff, and I have here, well, the Adaptec AHA 1540, a SCSI cable, a Fujitsu, what is this, M2681 SAM, which is a 250 meg hard drive, which works, and this Sony drive. Sony drive is a CDU55S made in August of 1994, and this one was made in September of 1994, so like these are a month apart. Extremely era correct stuff. Bit old for, a bit new for this machine. I mean, people are probably very much still using 386DX40s, but this probably would have found its way into something more of a 486 class system. But nevertheless, there's no reason that these things would not have existed together. So I'm going to explain a little bit what these numbers mean here. So with SCSI, everything has an ID. You can look at it like master slave has 0 or 1. Well, SCSI has actually 7 of them, 7 IDs. And 0 is usually the main boot drive. In this configuration in my DLC computer here, which is what this is running off of now, is the SCSI to SD 2 gig card unit thingamabob. Number 2 is the SciQuest portable 88 meg hard disk, interchangeable, removable hard disk. I'll be doing that in another video. Everyone's familiar with the zip disk. This one's a SCSI version. And number 5 is the compact CD-ROM. This is how I tested the Sony with ID 6 on it. So a word about IDs: they cannot conflict, and you have to set them. Usually your boot disk is 0, and every other accessory is 1 to 6, 7 being the card itself. So these are usually set with tiny jumpers. This one has a jumper block there and there. I didn't actually look this one up because it was already set to 0, so fantastic. So that one is going to be put away onto this card via that cable. This one needed a bit of manipulation. All the different colored jumpers there. So this one is actually nice enough to have a pinout. I'm not sure what parity does or prevent allow. Parity is presumably, from what I've briefly glanced on the internet, is for Mac systems that require it, or Next systems. I'm not sure what that is exactly. And then there is prevent allow. Maybe that's termination. I'm not sure, but I plugged this into this computer and it saw it. So now what remains to be done is to put all this together into that, run the MSCDX drivers, and hopefully we'll have a booting and reading writing system. In this step, we're going to be installing the SCSI drivers for the CD-ROM, primarily for the CD-ROM. So we have a little disk in here that Adaptec Easy SCSI Utilities for DOS. So it found the host adapter. Now it's scanning the bus. It found the two things that are in fact installed. At ID 0 is the hard disk, and at ID 6 is the CD-ROM, just as I had set them. Well, the drive was set by default. Let's install this to C Adaptec. And see if SimCity 2000 will read. What is the letter you would like for your CD-ROM drive. D sounds good to me. Sure, make all modifications to the startup files. Alright, and it is time to reboot. Diskette out. If this works, I will take the time to install Windows 3.1. I will not bore you with the details of that. Let's see if the CD-ROM gets picked up. Alright, found both of them, and incorrect DOS version. So, oh, I know what we have to do here. A little bit of cleanup. We instead have to tell it to go to the DOS directory and take mscdex extension from there. Do a quick restart. There it is again. ASPI for DOS installation successful, and we have a D drive. Now is the moment of truth. D::dir. Let's see if it can read the disk. It's taking its sweet ass time. The disk is a bit scratched. Let me go get one that's not so bad. Oh, well, there it is. There's a Windows 3.1 version. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, install Windows and install the drivers for the Windows software, and then install actually the game, Ultimate Test. The installation now of the Adaptec SCSI drivers, mostly for the CD-ROM. So it's found the host controller already, and there's the Fujitsu hard disk and the Sony CD-ROM at ID 0 and 6 respectively. We will install these SCSI utilities at Adaptec, and Windows has been installed. This NEC version of Windows 3.1. Put that under games. Looks like we've reached the end. And during that incredibly lengthy install process, I actually looked up the CD-ROM, and it is a 2.4 times CD-ROM. Not sure what even that means. So it's not exactly the fastest. Let's give this a go. Let's see how it runs on a DX, 386 DX 40. I remember this. That's the 256 color warning. This card will do it. It's just these cards are crap. I could try to run that in-flight video thing at 2 times. Yeah, this is actually not too bad. I mean, it looks horrific because 16 colors, but yeah. Now there's no sound installed or anything, so yeah. Well, the response actually isn't too bad. The screen refresh is what it is due to the video card. And it having 8 megs of RAM, I'm not sure what the requirements for this are, but we'll revisit this when the system's optimally set up with a sound card, with a good video card.